stop, put the rest of it on prep, and then we're going to open up our notes. We might have time at the end for you to continue it along with another thing.
Are we supposed to do both sides?
You can do it as, the purpose is for you to memorize them as best you can. I should also say, if you have an IEP or anything that says like spelling doesn't count, spelling counts. However, I may not count your mark for as much if you have an IEP that says that. But the purpose is for this is to make sure you learn so that you can do that quickly. So I want everybody to try as hard as they can, regardless of anything, just so that you get better. And if you have anything in an IEP that says that shouldn't count, just let me know. And one of the reasons is that, of course, you should know the element of the symbol, because that's fluorine. And that's not, what is that?
It's not fluorine.
Fluoromonoiodide. Because that L looks an awful lot like an I, and there is no such thing as FL, so it must be iodide. And so it's a completely different compound if you get it wrong. Also, on the topic of fluorine, it's fluorine. And I took, I think it was third year instrumental analysis from a chemist at UVic. He is the top fluorine chemist in North America, working there. And he taught us instrumental analysis, nothing to do with fluorine. But it was part of his daily job, so he was teaching us that. And he did tell us at the beginning that it's fluorine. It's not flowering. And that if we ever spelled it flowering on any of his tests, that he would look up our names at the University of Victoria Registrar, find out where we lived, break into our apartment at night, creep over our bed while we're sleeping, and then hold a sharp knife to our throat and wake us up, and then ask us to spell fluorine. And if we spelled it flowering, he would just lean forward. I'm not saying that was a good thing to do or in any way that was appropriate for him to say in class. But I will say I was trained by him. And now seeing flowering brings trauma to me. So please spell it correctly. And try to do that for the other elements as well. They have their own unique spellings, and a few quirks. There are some things that you can learn, as in lead is Pb. If you know the fact that that was plumbing for the Romans, they literally called their plumbing leading because for them that's what they used, and that's probably actually not why they all got lead poisoning. They got lead poisoning because they used lead for everything, not just their plumbing. They actually probably got lead poisoning because they also used it for their pans. And we can actually find recipes to make a nice sweet jam in the recipe says you need a nice lead pan for this. You heat the jam and the citric acid reacts with the lead to make lead acetate, which is sweet and really poisonous and easily absorbed by your body. So the sweetness of this jam is enhanced by the lead as it poisons you. That may be one of the reasons why they got lead poisoning, because they did use lead for everything. It's a wonderful metal. It's just really sad that it's poisonous. We still use it for a lot of stuff. So go through, get as good as you can. If there's an IEP thing I should know about, please let me know. Other than that, put it away, put up the notes here. And then last day, I think we stopped at this point where I said, draw the Lewis dot diagrams for potassium and nitrogen ions, not the atoms. So I think I'm going to ask you to take that out. And now if you just drew the atoms, which you could do to begin with, and then the ions, that would probably help. I'm going to take a look around as you get out your notes to see exactly where we were when we did that. Do you have the ions down? Yeah? Okay, so we can go straight there. What would the ions look like? B block, random. Alexander, potassium.
Oh, like 10 dots?
Yeah. It is one for the atom. So now I'm going to ask you, what is it for the ion?
Non-energy
Plus one, perfect. Why don't we do that, and we'll be consistent then. What is it for the atom for nitrogen? Aria.
The atom is 5 dots.
5 dots. I like it when they're on top, but it doesn't really matter. So we go like that. And then what would it be for the ion? What's that?
Ion?
Yeah.
N3
It would be 3 minus. What would the Lewis dot diagram look like?
Lewis would be full, like all 8.
All 8, because it wants an octet.
Yeah. And then the brackets.
And then the brackets. However, where did it get its electrons from?
And then 17.
But it only had 1.
No, that's 3.
So there, you need 3 of them. So the other thing is that you also need 3 of these, because that's going to lead into our next topic.
Can you just put 3 in front of the K? In front of the K?
I'm trying to draw it to be really obvious, but if you put a 3 in there, that is perfectly fine, especially if you know what it means. Because you can tell me, what would the formula of this compound be?
Where would you put the 3?
Oh,
K3N.
K3N. Don't worry about it too much. And does anybody know what this compound, yeah, I think I'll volunteer for that rather than asking you. What would this compound be called? Tripotassium.
Tripotassium nitride.
No.
Or
Nitrate.
Because you have given us an introduction into covalent bonding naming. And this is what type?
ion.
Ionic. So you've jumped ahead to covalent. For this one, how do we know this is ionic? What 2 types of elements do we need to see there? Yes?
A cation and an anion.
That is the very precise answer. You need a cation, which is often a metal. Normally I would just say it's a metal, but there are a few cases where it's not. And you need an anion.
So just potassium.
Whereas covalent, they're all nonmetals.
So just potassium nitride.
So just potassium nitride. Does the name reflect the number of atoms in any way at all? No. Do any of you have any vague recollections of like Roman numerals going in there that had something to do with this? Yes.
Yeah.
Do those Roman numerals have anything to do with the number of atoms?
No.
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 They don't have anything to do with the number of atoms. If they did, we'd put them everywhere, and we don't. They have to do with the charge, and we're going to do that next. But they only have to do with the charge when the charge is confusing.
Only metals.
And so there are a bunch of ones we know the charge of. We know the charge of, what color, since I've colored this up blue, I don't think is on here. What is the charge of all these things? If they're to be a charge, they're +1. Now the atom is never charged, but if you take that 1 valence away, it becomes +2. How many valence electrons do these have? 2. So we take them away, it becomes +2. Then what would the charge be here? +3. There.
Plus or minus 4.
Plus, oh, you knew the trick before I said it. +or -4. And then someone else? -3. Someone else? -2. -1. And then this whole column? 0, because they're useless. Noble gases. They don't do any work. They just sit around being monarchs. That is true for everything in here, but there's this whole section in your colored periodic table where they give you more than one charge. And for that, we're going to use Roman numerals later. Also, a couple students have said, Mr. Neufeld, when they were done a test, like, I didn't use the Roman numeral because the question had zirconium in it, and it only has +4. I'm like, yeah, but zirconium can be +4, but rarely +3, +2, and +1. And this periodic table is not complete. It gives you an idea, but it doesn't actually tell you what the charges are for everything. It just gives you a couple of the more popular ones up here. But there are 2 that we will always know. So when we do Roman numerals, we'll tell you, but this is always +3. That is always +2, and that is always +1. And those ones never use Roman numerals either, by tradition. So never because we always know they're +1, never because we always know they're +2, and then +3, +3, +2, +1, because traditionally we have never need Roman numerals for those. We use them for everything else that's in there. That'll be next. We're going to do the simple naming without the Roman numerals first, and just make sure you can count atoms, because that always catches a couple of things. And then just to make sure we go through the things, which one's the... I'll do this one with the random, because then we'll make this a quick little review. Which one is the cation, please? Jaden. Which one's the cation?
The cation
Yeah.
is normally it's the metal atom.
Yes. So which one?
Oh,
Potassium.
potassium.
So that's the cation. Just making sure that we know all the definitions of the terms. And which one is the anion?
Nitrogen.
Kiona? Nitrogen. And so cation, anion. Ooh, what is an electrostatic attraction? How many of you have heard the word electrostatic attraction? So 2 people. It comes up, how many of you have done, I don't know what grade they do it, like when you stick balloons on walls and you like rub your head and like all of that static electricity? Everybody here done that? Should have been defined there, but it may not have been. I think your hand was up first.
I think it's when like the positive cation attracts to the
Yeah.
negative.
It's a fancy word that just means positive attracts negative. So this attraction is an electrostatic attraction. And it gives rise to the saying in rom-coms everywhere that opposites attract, which is entirely untrue.
Why is it untrue?
Because we now have limitless data from dating apps that tells us it's the 2 things that determine who you're going to marry or be with is 1, geography, and they have to live near you. And this is in university dorms. Being 2 dorms down rather than next to you is a noticeable drop off in the likelihood that you'll be together. Like people, it just turns out people are lazy and they just take the nearest person sometimes, which is why long distance relationships don't work out so well. Watch the grade 12s in May as they all start to break up as they realize they're going to be far away from each other next year. And
No,
not going
most of
to-
them last year stayed together, and they're still.
Are they still together?
They are still together.
And we do have Allard House, which Julia Allard and a boy in Privet, who actually I just realized I should not have named. I'll have to go back and edit that and take that out. Who were like dating since grade 10, all the way through, and then have kids now, and it's lovely. I remember giving him dating advice.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't good, but anyway.
Can you say the advice?
No, because we're being recorded. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, dating apps actually can also say how many of the people like stop using the app because they actually get together, and it turns out just the number of things you have in common is a really high predictor of that.
Yeah.
So like if you're 2 introverts who like to play D&D and never go outside, you know. Now, sometimes there is someone who is like a logical, normal person, and the other person likes camping, and sometimes they get married and cause a lot of chaos, but they may probably share a lot of other things in common. Yeah. So it's the number of things, not specifically what things. And those are also averages. They don't apply to individuals. I know plenty of individuals that would seem to break that. However, we know that.
So opposites do
Yeah.
not attract.
I want to see the Hallmark, sorry, I'm still sick and somewhat hallucinating. How many of you have seen Hallmark romance movies?
What do you mean by Hallmark?
It's weird, the division. It goes like this. I want to see the one, not from her point of view when she visits the small town and he's making the Christmas tree bonanza that they have to win in order to get the money to save the cookie shop. I want to see the movie from the point of view of her friends in New York going, look, he's gaslighting you. This is crazy. You have a huge business deal here. It's worth $3.2 million. What are you doing throwing your life away? That would be a great movie. That had nothing to do with
How
any
about
of
the
this.
billionaire X that like didn't do anything wrong?
Pardon?
Like the billionaire X. that
Oh
didn't
yeah,
do anything
yes.
wrong.
None of those movies make a lot of sense, but they're nice. Okay, ionic compound is a compound in which we have a cation and an anion. Just so we can define by example, ionic bond. The electrostatic attraction is the ionic bond.
Nah, that's a flop. I can't lie.
What are they? They're filming things. Hello, what are you filming? Oh, okay. Look really studious. Who knows the answer to this question? Put up your hand. Oh, see. Yes, yes. How many of you can define an ionic bond? It's B-roll. It's just, they're never going to use it probably. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no sound, because if there's sound, it'll give it right away. Probably have music playing in the background. Yes. If you're around at lunchtime, if I get the gas working, I can do a demo of some kind. Yeah, you can see like flames. There is lab. 2 students working on a lab at lunchtime. Yeah, and it's just a couple of them. Like 2 pairs doing a makeup if you need some lab pictures. And I think it would serve them right for being away if they had to be filmed. What can I mean about charge of the ionic compound? Why? Oh, this is a good one. What is the charge on the final ionic compound? Pardon? Why? They've charged though.
Because they cancel out.
Because they cancel out. So you should have +3 and -3. So you should always be able to go +3 and -3. If you ever end up with an imbalance, you know that you've done something wrong. So overall charge of 0. And I'm trying to write too fast because I'm being filmed.
Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. We're famous. What holds it together?
Electrostatic.
Electrostatic attraction. We already answered that. Oh, and ACL.
Opposites attract.
Why do you have your?
Not bad.
It's not the World Cup. I now know that's important. I didn't used to.
Wait, why did you think it wasn't important?
Some students came to me and said, Mr. Neufeld, the World Cup is on at 3 a.m. or something. Can we go watch that? And I said, what is on? They said, the World Cup. And I'm like, what is that? And they said, like, it's football. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I don't care about American football. They said, no, it's soccer. It's the World Cup. Like, that meant something.
It does.
And I said, it's not like it's the Stanley Cup. Like, who cares? And they're like, no, you understand, Mr. Neufeld. Billions of people watch this.
Yeah.
And then some of the members of admin told me this is actually a big deal, and I let them. I don't really care about the Stanley Cup either. I always I don't understand the point when the ball gets lost in the clouds and they do that silly clap in the end down the fairway.
Huh?
What?
Yeah,
In the standard?
when they're
Golf. No.
oh, that's the other one with the stick.
It's okay.
Right.
What, you mean Augusta?
Sorry, I get golf and hockey confused because they're so similar.
You mean Augusta?
No, I just make that joke because as a Canadian, I find it offends a lot of Canadians, and that is funny. It's like if you want to really make someone upset because they're going on about how, they are, and they're like an alpha, just say, oh, alpha? Oh, it's a furry thing. And just leave it at that. That's great. Okay, so this is a salt crystal.
Wow.
Let's say it is 3 chlorines up and 3 chlorines down, and it's a cube. How many sodiums do we have, and how many chlorines do we have? 3 by 3 by 3.
6, 8, 9.
8, 9?
9.
27.
27?
No,
It's a cube.
27?
3 times 3 times 3, so 3 is 3 cubed.
3 times 3 is...
You said 3 cubed.
And 3 cubed is 27.
3 cubed is 27. That's okay, math isn't real.
Oh, 3 squared.
Yeah. Math is also not real and fundamentally broken at a level that they cannot solve it. Have you heard? No, I've done this rant before.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah, I have. Okay. Sorry. I saw the whole. I apparently did the same rant I think 6 times in 2 weeks because it was on my brain in a class. So I got to be careful. So this is NaCl 2727, and of course this is a small crystal. A crystal you get in your food might be Na 127,846, Cl 127,846. So when we say NaCl, which is Na1Cl1, what is that really? It's not the number of atoms.
Is the type.
It's the type
Ratio.
and the ratio. That is the lowest ratio.
Simplified.
We do not call it a molecule because it doesn't have a beginning and an end. It could go on for a long time. So it's not a single discrete entity, it's a ratio. We call it a formula unit or an FU. Yes. Yes. And you don't have to ask. You can just go as long as your phone's in the thing.
Don't they go up in moles?
Don't they what?
Go up in moles?
Go up in moles?
Yeah, like the U.
You're not allowed to know about moles. Yeah, how much is in a mole?
Like 602 8
6.023 times 10 power 10 3. Yep.
Yeah, it's a really big number. And the reason we do that is because if you have 1 mole, you have its atomic mass in grams.
Yeah.
So oxygen is 16.
Yes.
If I have a mole of oxygen, I have 16 grams. And that means I can go to my lab and weigh out 16 grams and I know how many atoms I have and we can convert back and forth. Yeah.
Are we talking about it?
No, we do that in Chem 11.
No,
Yes.
Okay.
Science 10,
Oh,
I
It's a unit
like a
of
molecule?
measurement.
no,
No, that's
like a
not
mole's a
mole.
number like a dozen.
Yeah.
So like I could have a mole of telephones. I would have more telephones than matter exists in the universe probably. But that's just 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd worth of telephones.
Yeah.
It's just a unit. It's like if you had
Avocado.
it's like if you had 1 million phones. What is 1 million phones?
a mole of foam?
It's a megaphone.
Wow.
Okay. That's
You can have a mole.
yeah. Yay! We should get the TV people back here. Then they could use the sound. So, ionic compounds don't have a discrete beginning and end. If I were to give you a covalent compound as an example, the one I like to use is H2O2. That is not a ratio because it's not the simplest ratio, and they're both non-metals. So we know it's not an ionic compound, and it has a very distinct structure. It is H to O to O to H. And if we're just drawing the structure, we'd do this. If we're doing the Lewis dot diagram, all I'd have to do is add that, and it would be done. It has a beginning and an N, an alpha and an omega. It is a discrete thing. This is a molecule, and this is an FU, or a formula unit.
Can the cube thing, is that called an ionic lattice or something like that?
Is what?
Ionic lattice?
Oh yeah, crystal lattice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they'll have different packing structures. Because the crystal lattice, this is a simple one, the crystal lattice for this will have 3 of those for every one of those, and those are much bigger and it will surround it and it'll have a certain packing structure. So yeah, it's a crystal lattice. Okay. There was someone a few years ago who always got cations and anions confused, so I just made this as reference to keep it in their memory forever. It's the whole like onions are negative, and I found an angry onion online, so that's the anion. I think we're done with the gender examples. Let's do some naming. We are going to start with simple naming. We'll probably do Roman numerals and other naming next day, and then we're going to add in the polyatomic ions. I think you go up to polyatomic ions, and then we're going to do that with balancing and types of reactions.
I hate memorizing.
I think those questions, I put them in to do a little test.
Why?
Now I think they're dumb. Not dumb, but they're not as useful as just trying this. So, why don't we,
I'm not watching them for
I'm going to have you
sacrilegious.
do these.
Bro, it's not even green, it's brown, bro. It's
what?
like brownish yellow. It makes me so mad.
Question?
What? No, he was asking me about the Thai green curry served here.
The type of what?
Something other
There's
than
gonna be
science.
Thai green curry for lunch today. And
Oh.
I said I'm not going.
Why?
Cause it's sacrilegious.
Why?
Cause it's brown. It's not even green. And it's like
He feels enraged because he's Thai.
Yeah, but like, I've tried to make, like, we can't get half the ingredients here in Mill Bay. It's annoying.
but it doesn't even taste like it.
Oh, yeah, wow. Have you had Chinese food?
Oh, Mr. Cowie had
In
a Vietnamese
Canada.
flight with Chinese.
Yes, I was
That
there.
Was so
I was
funny.
there. That was so yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, I have.
But I seen this stuff on Instagram Reels.
Okay, find a partner, go to the board, name those 3 compounds. Jessica, you can join any group you want or lone wolf it.
Name all the compounds.
I have 3 down there. I'll show them as soon as everybody's in their group and goes up. No worries.
What did you say before? You need to wait though.
Y'all got some Thai green curry?
Yeah.
I'll make some Thai green curry this week.
Hold it. There's a group of 3 there. Who you all partners with? There. And here. Excellent.
Who's this?
Pardon?
Who's this?
Zao.
Oh.
That's okay. I went in chemistry 12 at the end in last year in May. I put a partner together and they didn't know who the other person was. It had been a full year. Full year. Congratulations. You beat them.
What about it?
Oh, we need to write the name for it. Name it. Just name the compound.
Come at lunch today. You can come right at 1:50, like right after this class. You could run, make a sandwich, run back. I also have snacks in the cupboard.
Have your name on your coffee cup. Yes.
Okay, so very quickly, please write down the names for NaCl, MgF2, and Al2O3. The names. And since there's 3 of them, each of you should get a chance to write things down.
Yes.
Why are you two just standing?
We're doing one each.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, I see most people have sodium chloride for the first one. That's good.
Wait, is the second one magnesium difluoride?
Ah, is it?
Is it ionic or covalent?
Is it ionic or covalent? It's ionic. Oh, nice correction to the fluoride. Yeah. Same as on your teeth. If you want a nice toothpaste
All of these are
that'll protect your teeth, look for stannous or tin fluoride rather than sodium fluoride. It does a better job.
Your chair.
Can you break?
Can I rate it? Can I sit on it?
Oh, sure. Okay, so we got magnesium, aluminium.
Aluminum or
Aluminium.
What the hell?
Your fluoride there is missing something.
They're all ionic. Is it difluoride?
No.
No. Just the spelling. Yeah, that's like, ooh, Florida-eyed. Yes. Florida. Okay, excellent. And then, has everybody got the aluminum
Yeah.
or aluminium? Oxide,
Are you
oxide.
an aluminum or an aluminium guy?
I'm an aluminum guy. That's actually the IUPAC method. Aluminum is an acceptable slang, but it's not the official name. Sorry, I'm about to go into a story of that, and it's not relevant. Okay. I would like you to do the following. Oh, hold on, I need a quick clear of the table to make sure I don't pick something weird. Keep with your groups. Could you also do?
Ciao, get back to your phone. Hey, you can clean up your neck here
CSI, the amazing crime scene drama, and SES.
Is it CS or C5?
Oh, that's CS.
No, I need to kill art.
That's
So cesium?
Yes. And if you like alternative spellings, it has the weird AE. You might need your periodic table. Iodide. Yeah. Might need a periodic table.
Hey, stop measuring me.
Oh, is it a metal or non-metal?
SES is selenium. So selenium is sulfide.
Nope. No. Oh, I think it said aluminum. Selenium, yes. Yeah. So, what? Do we use monoditri in ionic?
Is that ionic?
Selenium
What's iodine?
is. Oh! I didn't mean to do that. Because you don't know that.
Know what? Know what?
Why don't I do that one? Yeah, that's close enough.
What? Selenium?
Nope, you can't do that one either yet.
Why?
Shh. Lies. Oh, I'll do this. This will work.
What's wrong with SES?
Why be serious?
Strontium.
SRS. The second one is SRS. Oh, SRS.
I changed it.
What? I remember like reading a book like with the periodic table shit like when I was 6. What is that?
That's a good name.
You're strontium.
That's cool.
That's not cold, bro. Where? LIA5.
Oh, there's more. There's something. Hell, I don't know.
What is that? AS or A5?
AS.
So arsenic.
AS. There, when everybody who's asking, is it A5? Is there any element with just A? No, it's AR.
Yeah. There's no.
There is no A,
AS.
so it has to be AS.
Arsenic.
That only helps when you know the periodic table that well, though.
Bro, arsenic is like such a good element. You don't need one of my favorites.
Arsenic?
Yeah.
It's the one of the few that you can actually say that was probably an iocane pattern. Have you seen Princess Bride?
No.
The movie? Oh, very good movie. It's old.
I remember arsenic from like this, what do you call it? Assassination.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why it was used, not only it being toxic, you can actually at low doses get used to it. It's one of the very few poisons you can do that with.
Yeah, you
which
can
means
build
you can,
immunity.
and you can then feed it to both yourself and your victim.
Yeah, it's
And then when they detect it in you, they'll just think, oh, you didn't get as high a dose and you survived. And in actuality, you're the one that poisoned them. Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah.
good tip.
Once you've got all of them, you can have a seat. Maybe this is a good one for a Kahoot. I so rarely do Kahoots. Yeah. I would have to make one up, but.
Is there a cat?
Oh, it's a kitty cat.
Yes.
Who drew a cat?
Oh, what is that?
The what?
Wait, we don't have the cap.
Okay.
I put it on the thing. Sorry.
Oh, we lost the cap?
I don't think they do that.
Well, I need to find new shoes like this. Look at my school shoes, right?
I have an extra cap if we need. Just someone put a cap back without a
Hell
cap.
nah.
Oh.
They're gonna
We
spit
just have
on
an
that.
extra
You're
cap.
gonna spit on that.
This 5-star binder is
Oh, that's the last class.
Oh my god.
Someone just forgot the binder. Yep. We don't grade on the curve, so it wouldn't improve your grade.
I see this. How did you get a new comment?
Oh, I got that as a gift. Yeah, they just agreed. Ms. Walensky, huh? Although they like Ms. Walensky more.
Hey,
Because it says Walensky.
I was committed to the role.
Just committed.
Role player.
That's fair though. I've met Ms. Walensky. I like her more. Okay.
I'm not into that.
Lithium arsenide, good.
Yo, what?
Strontium selenide, good. And what was the first one? CSI? Cesium iodide, good. Where is it on here? I don't, okay, I'll go for that. What is the rule then when naming? What do you do? I at the end. Do we do it in the first one?
No.
Any monoditries?
No.
No. Now, going backwards, if I just gave you this, and you had to go this way, it doesn't give you any of those numbers. How would you get those?
The charges and your balance.
The charges in your balance. So you'd look up aluminum and go, oh, that's aluminum plus 3. What charge is oxygen? Minus 2. And then you'd figure out what number goes in, what number absorbs both 3 and 2? 6. How many times does 3 go into 6? 2. So we need 2 of those. How many of the oxygen do we need? 3. Now some of you may have learned a trick. The trick works. And the trick, because it's that ratio, is if you have Al plus 3, O minus 2, you can just crisscross it. And that's why people think those determine the numbers. They don't. Because you can crisscross it and get this. Is that right? No, you have to reduce. And there's other things.
Well, yeah, you crisscross and then you.
And then you have it. Yeah, you have to know what to do. And you have to know why. Before you go,
I can't actually. Like, what do you call it?
only the first page of this is, oh, was that not plugged in?
Oh.
I'll get, you can pack up and just take this on out the door.
I'm skipping.
Oh, word? As you're packing up.
Word? No, I personally. Max Gordon?
I did not get back the test today because last night I was going to finish up my analysis, and then I just didn't because I was too sick. And honestly, I have to be honest, I played Horizon Forbidden West instead.
Respectable.
I couldn't.
Understandable.
Aloy is just so cool to look at, and we defeated a giant dread something. Yeah. We felt very proud. Oh, I play with my Miss Hanley. Miss Hanley makes all the dialogue choices and decisions on where to go, and I make it in combat. Yeah, so we can play our games together and enjoy the song.
Okay, what did you guys look at?
Wow. That was actually a couple goals.
Goals for us. Is that couple goals? Yeah. Jaden, you want to play Horizon with me?
In the afternoon.
What, me and you?
Okay.
Are we a couple? Yeah, we're a couple, Jaden.
Yeah, and then
Oh my God.
cross it out and then go.
Are we an item?
Do you want to write a quick sandwich? or
Don't
what?
objectify me like that.
No, I was joking about the Justin Bieber song.
I'm gonna go home.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Let me also text my roommate so I have backup.
And if you are here for the labs, I saved all the snacks they gave us.
They gave us snacks.
Well, at one point, I got snacks from there, so I keep now a selection in here of chips and cookies.
Let's go. Who else is doing the lab?
There's some grade 12s coming,
Oh.
as well as grade 10s, because they missed the entire lab because they were